For the past 6 years or so, I have been struggling with depression. And one of the things that helped me the most to cope and fight back was actually video games. This is how. But first, a disclaimer. I am not a professional on mental health on any capacity, so I'm speaking only of my own experience. If you suspect you have or you actually have depression, anxiety, or any other mental problem, please consult a professional. Video games and nothing really are actually a replacement for therapy and medication. So please take care of yourself, friend, and don't you dare go hollow. And this is perhaps the reason why most people go and play video games when they don't feel their best. They just really need a break. And when you have depression or anxiety, it still works in the same way. Your mind just needs sometimes a break, somewhere to escape to. And I understand this very well because every time that I had actually a depressive episode, or really when anything bad happened, even if it was just a small thing, it really could throw me off. So whenever these things happen and I just needed a break, I would just put my favorite simple entertaining game and just give myself a break. And of course, each time is different too, because sometimes you just need something relaxing, something repetitive, and other times you need something that is fast paced, something that doesn't make you think in any way. It really depends. It depends up to you, on the situation, but it's as simple as that. The second thing is that games can actually help you recover stability and order. When I was first depressed, diagnosed with depression, I noticed that I actually felt like my life had no order. It had no stability of any kind. It had nothing. I felt myself like in a void trying to desperately grab myself to anything. And games actually helped me, since games usually have a really well established sense of order, of stable rules of things to do, a well-defined system, a way to arrange things, a way to understand just simple logic, simple basic things to clinch, to grab yourself to. And such ease to get into these virtual worlds was just the perfect thing to help me get back into my life, to grab some order into my life, because every time I used to play these games, it was like a bit of that order, a bit of that stability was actually bleeding into my life, which was actually the perfect thing to help me recover. And when I couldn't avoid a depressive episode, some games, particularly challenging ones, helped me recover at least faster or a bit easier. Games have a very interesting way of teaching you things. It's usually on the background, where you don't actually think about these things. Well, you are actually worrying about dealing with those pesky enemies or doing that, farming or whatever. You're actually learning things at the same time. Whenever I was actually grinding to get that new weapon, that next level, to defeat that enemy that was killing me over and over and over again, I was learning these two things constantly. Now, of course, what could be a challenging game for me, it could be an easy game for you, or vice versa. It doesn't matter really what game you play. You don't have to play the hardest games to gain this, but it does need to challenge you a bit, a little bit at least, so you learn little by little to gain these two things. Now, life can be a really scary thing, and one of the things that you notice the most when you are depressed is that life feels meaningless or purposeless. We all become a little bit existentialist when this happens, when depression happens or anxiety happens. And I think that's okay, because then we can give the next step, which is actually know and learn that we can inject any meaning and purpose into our lives at that point. The problem is that in this state, we really cannot make such decisions. It's really hard for us to. But games excel at this. Games can give you, or at least while you're playing them, they can make you feel like you have this amazing purpose, this meaning, this reason why. Now, on gamification, the concept of actually turning your life into a video game or something similar, Yukai Cho mentions the need for epic meaning into your life, or into your business or whatever. But I would say that the meaning doesn't necessarily have to be epic for it to be meaningful. And I say this because the two games that taught me this the most, when you start them, you actually have no real sense of meaning or purpose. You start really on the low side and nobody is telling you that you can or will save the world. Actually, one of them is very vague and the other one actually tells you, yeah, you can't do much. But what I learned while doing these simple minor things is that it doesn't really matter. You don't really have to save the world, nor the princess, nor anything really to have meaning, to have purpose. All you need is to start. All you need is a little bit, a little thing that will actually help you go in the right direction. Maybe your purpose will be epic at some point, the meaning of everything, of existence, but it doesn't have to start like that. It doesn't need to feel that strong at the beginning. You can simply start with little tasks that will amount to something. And that something, the first something, doesn't have to be meaningful or really impactful either. But you know that you are on the right way. And that's the important thing. So it doesn't really have to come from anywhere in particular. It can come from wherever. It can be given to you by anyone, or you can grab it yourself. You can make it up. The important part is that you start with something, so it will switch all of your ideas, all of your perceptions to believe in something, for it to start taking you in the right direction, in a more healthy lifestyle, in a more healthy way to see things. Now, how's that for a life lesson that you learned by playing video games? If you think that this information could help anyone, please share it. And don't forget again that these games or any other activity does not really replace therapy nor medication. While I was learning all these things in these past 6 years, I was actually taking medication, I was actually going to therapy, so please, take care of yourself again. Until the next one. See you around, my friend.